Here we go.
Yeah, guys. So, as you guys know, we have some very interesting topics to discuss today. We're gonna go deep into. I'm looking forward to the second topic, especially. But before we do that, I just wanted to talk about a scenario. I would discuss it, right? So it's basically, am I let's call it douchebag for being upset with my boyfriend? This is a girl talking, for giving a random girl a lift and taking her to a bar for a drink. So this is the story. My boyfriend met a girl at a restaurant he goes to during lunch near his work. He told me he gave her a lift home after work and on the way took her for a drink and a game of pool at a bar. I'm not
Continue.
I was extremely upset and told him that was inappropriate and disrespectful to our relationship. He said he doesn't see it that way, and I knew I wouldn't like it. So he didn't let me know before doing it. Am I a douchebag for being mad at my boyfriend for this? Corey, your thoughts? You think the girl was right or is right to be mad?
What's the new word the kids are saying? Riz.
Riz,
Riz.
Yes,
So
yes.
sometimes when you're in the moment and someone's got Riz, next thing you know, you're playing pool. You didn't think anything of it, and that was it.
that was it. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's my 2 cents.
Hey,
Riz.
do you, do you want me to respond as a woman or as a man in this scenario? Let's
As what?
start with a woman.
As
Let's
That
start with a
sounds
woman.
crazy. That sounds crazy.
yeah, I want you.
A
I
woman
want.
would usually say in this scenario, if it was the other way around, she would ask him, "Are you insecure?"
Well,
Mm. They would probably
well.
go there.
So here are a couple of answers. The first one is kind of what you're saying, KR. I always turn these situations back around. Call him and let him know you're just getting a lift with a man, then going out to have a drink and play pool. He should be cool with that. Another one said,
Oh,
doesn't
man.
have to be the exact same situation, but yes, you should turn it around. If your friend was telling you this about her boyfriend, would you tell her to stay with him? And the last one, he knew you wouldn't like it, so he proceeded to do one, to do it, and two, not to let you know about it. What? Yeah, no. You have every right to be mad at him. I consider this a red flag. One more and he's out, in my opinion. At least he has a
Wait,
chance.
what
Hey,
is,
man, let's.
what is this? Yo, wait a second. Let's break this down, though. So, did he? How did she find out that he went?
He told her
Oh, he
afterwards.
afterwards.
Yeah,
And where
after
did
the
they
fact.
meet again? Where did they meet?
At a restaurant, he usually
For lunch.
lunch.
Lunch. So he basically met a girl and thought, "Hey, man, I want to hang out with new people."
No,
Oh,
no. Well,
She proposed. She was the
oh,
leader in
shoot.
this.
So she was the one raising the guy.
Correct.
so she, so
Oh,
she, so she
what?
needed a, so she
Why
needed a
do men?
lift.
Why do men? Why cannot men? Why can men not be raised up in this situation? Why not? If she wants, she's proposing. Can I? Why? Why? Would a woman say no if a man walks to? Well, probably yes.
Well, it's because the sex is like we're different. So like
We're different, yes.
yeah, so like, oh, I need a lift. A man thinks, oh, I got you. Like it's just a natural
Yeah, it's
inclination to give the ride.
Yeah.
You cannot say the flip. If a man says, oh, I need a lift to a woman, she's thinking stranger. You can't get in my car.
Danger,
Security, like so it's you can't just oh, what would you do if it was the other way around? It's like let's remind ourselves we are two different sexes that have like once that question comes about, the thought process is very different. Like you bring up pool. Oh, I play pool. Yeah, I'll go for a game of pool. You don't think anything of it. So
well, the thing is, two things, right? He told me he gave her a lift. So my question is, who asked for the lift? Did he offer or did she ask? But I do agree, a lift is a lift, right? But my question is, why would you stop on the way for a drink and a game of pool? So that part I can imagine. So I think that's the problem, right? If you're gonna give a strange girl a lift. So okay, so let me ask you guys this: can the drink and the pool be considered? Can it be considered to be a date?
I would say it's a date if they went out of their way. If the pool and the drink was on the way to where they were going, it was only right. You know, they had a little bit of time and that makes sense. But if you took a left when you should have went right, yeah, you went on a little date.
He was sampling, making sure that he has the right woman if there was not a better option out there.
In that, so in your scenario, KR, I would be mad too. So if I
he snuck in a free date.
Yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe she's making more out of it. Maybe it's just innocent. The guy was just he was on his lunch. Met a girl. She was funny. Maybe she did they talk about how she looks? Maybe she's a.
I think the last thing
our show, but maybe she was an oversized girl and it's not his type. She's just a friend, a pal.
Yeah. Well, someone said, am I the only one more concerned with the fact that he said, and I quote, I knew you wouldn't like it, so I didn't ask permission, end quote. That has some serious Batman vibes to openly state it and to be confident with it. I think so. That part, I think it's like you're open, you're transparent. It's not like a Batman vibe, right? You're basically saying, hey, I did this, because he could have kept his mouth shut too. But he said, I went to lunch, I picked up a girl, we went to play a game of pool, drank some beer, and had a quickie, and I brought him home. So it's not like a big deal, right? In any case,
no face, no trace. Anyway,
never heard of it. Anyway, so KR, I think this is fun. We can keep talking, but we have some very interesting topics to talk about. So with that being said, yes. Hey guys, welcome all to another Double Thought show. This is the second show of this year featuring Corey. Corey, what's up, man?
How we doing?
Nice to have you back. You guys know we're gonna collaborate more with Corey this year.
Yes, sir.
Time Corey blesses us with his presence. We get very good reactions, positive reactions. A free thinker. There are not many left. So really appreciate you making the time and effort to be here. Guys, we have a very interesting lineup for you guys today. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about I call him the Flying Dutchman. The man who hurdled over, I guess it's a bench, right? To attack a judge. The video that went viral is now facing the consequences. What are the consequences? We're going to dive into that. As you guys know, for those of you who watched the previous show, we talked about the Vultures album, whether it will drop or not, what we can expect. Well, we now have some updates. We're going to talk about Kanye's Super Bowl ad. We're going to talk about the Vultures. And his strategy. Some people play checkers while Ye is playing chess, it seems. We're going to talk about the cancel culture that maybe failed to oust Ye because they've been trying, but he keeps popping back up. It's like a rash. And last but not least, we're going
Bro.
well, not last but not least, we're going to talk about more Super Bowl related topics, predominantly the ads, the most remarkable ads that were shown, and we're going to talk about Usher
Usher.
doing what Usher does, embracing his friend Alicia Keys. That got some very interesting comments. Some people were pro or against, and some people were against. So we're going to talk about that as well. Before we proceed, remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. We see that a lot of you watch our videos, you engage with us, you comment and like, but you're not subscribed. So if you haven't done so already, it would mean a lot to us if you subscribe. Rate the show by pressing the like button. Share the video with your family, your friends, and your enemies. Always distract them enemies. And don't forget as well, guys, to simply comment and let us know what you think about the topics we discuss. As I always say, this is an open platform. Whether you agree or disagree, please let us know. With that being said, I think we can move to the first topic now.
Okay.
Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Viva! Viva Las Vegas!
Yes, sir. Viva Las Vegas. The guy, Troy Polamalu off the streets. We talked about this topic like a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like the guy basically attacked a judge, jumped over the bench. We cannot show it because otherwise we'll get age restricted. But when it happened, we basically covered this story. Um, and the guy was, he was standing there listening to the judge. And I think she was slightly clowning him a little bit during that process. I think RJ basically covered it pretty well. He gave his opinion on how judges should act in situations like this, and the guy didn't like it, and I mean he blacked out, and now he's facing. Well, he's indicted by the grand jury for attempted deletion, murder. So it goes from it was a parole hearing, right? If I'm not mistaken. So it went from trying to get parole to now facing 20 or more years. I don't know how you can take L like this, Corey.
Where do we begin? If I'm covering it, I do have to say this: the leap was impressive.
Oh yeah.
It was an impressive leap. Like I didn't see it coming. It looked like he jumped from a trampoline. It was upstream, if you will. So I don't know if he has an athletic background, but guy, good broad jump, great leap from that standpoint. Olympic leap, I would say.
Yeah.
But it also gave new meaning to him. He went ape shit.
Yo.
Oh man.
He went ape shit. And then I saw in the article that he has schizophrenia and bipolar. I definitely saw that. So it was very clear. I mean, it was that in and of itself. That's someone who just lost control of his mental, and it all came out in the physical, and it was impressive. But at the same time, now, I mean, I'm sure he's upset with himself.
Yeah. Well, I think if what you're saying is correct, Corey, and he did take a leap of faith, if you will. But Are you telling me that his defense is gonna be judged? It wasn't me. It was my alter ego.
His defense should be he is not sane enough to go through with that trial. He shouldn't have gone through with the trial.
That's
so
true.
Yes, and I think he has a great case.
Yeah,
I think he can look at that and say, Judge, who in their right mind would do that?
that's true. Not me.
No,
Certainly not me.
That's me. I did not take the medicine that day, and I will never let that happen again. I mean, look, I would be won over by something like that because of how extreme it was. My first thought was this is a skit. A Chappelle skit.
Yeah. No, man, I think I think that will be a defense. I mean, I think that's probably gonna be one part of the defense. If it's established by professionals that he has schizophrenia, then it's definitely something that he will be able to use and blame it on his other half, which might be like a Russian gymnast or something. I think to call it a attempt, a deletion attempt, that's probably they're probably going with it to make a point. There are certain people in society that you can't touch. So you can assault people, but you definitely can assault a police officer. You definitely can't assault a
You can?
politician.
You serious? I saw a video in New York. Anyway,
I'm saying what I'm. Oh, come on, man! You know exactly what I'm saying, man. So it's like the punishments will be more severe, and I think
punishment? I thought they walked free, right? Oh no! Continue. Sorry, my bad. My bad.
can we not talk about the migrants for one? one
Continue,
second?
please. Continue. Continue.
But
Somos
Precedent.
amigos. Somos amigos. ¿Hablas español?
yes. So I guess that's what you need to say, right? That needs to be your defense. No English. But
Continue.
where is los tacos? I need. Come on, man. Yeah, so I think that's definitely gonna be a
In
defense.
law, I think what you're getting at is precedence.
It's precedence, yeah.
So as much as you think that it's extreme and doesn't make sense right now, hopefully, and I say that confidently, it will actually, I say that not confidently. It will stop the next person from ever even thinking about it. But the reason I don't say it confidently is because I don't think those people think about what they're doing in those moments anyways. But I get why this one had to be, welcome back, KaiR. Why this one had to be so extreme, or at least, well, I was going to say they tried to convict him, or he's on trial for attempted deletion.
Yeah.
But we meet somewhere in the middle, or,
Yeah. And oftentimes it's like the main charge and then like subsidiary charges. So they might start it there just to for the headlines, because that also has an effect, right? The fact that the news outlets are saying this, are mentioning probably the main charge, that would also have an effect to scare people off. But there's probably other things, second count, third count, and it wouldn't surprise me if he gets found guilty, or if he's found guilty for a lesser charge.
Net, his life would have been better if he just didn't attempt to do that.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
I mean, I do agree with you on that. By the way, you almost got me deleted a second ago, but that was crazy what you said. I do agree with you on that. They're gonna set the example. because of course you don't want to set a precedent where people start attacking judges. Police already getting knocked up the head in New
You.
I had to come back to that one. But yeah, you have to set it. You have to stop it. So I think at the end of the day, we're laughing about this. It's a very sad thing because, well, I mean, we're laughing about the whole situation, yeah, but the guy lost his mind for a second, and it's gonna haunt him for the rest of his life.
But at the same time, so like, this is the crazy part. Some people are criminals.
That is true.
This is the part that I think what we're trying to like separate the people that are not able to just be walking along the streets.
Mhm.
You don't want them to stumble into a park. You don't want them to just be in public at a store because you just don't know. It could be a look, it could be anything. So I don't know. I mean, it comes out in different ways, and maybe parole probably wasn't enough. You know,
Probably.
he needed to be in some time to think about, okay, what do I need to work on? I don't know if he's going to be in the cell actually thinking about that, but he'll have more time to get to there.
Yeah.
So I just think,
But
there's that part of it where some people are not mentally sane and they need help, and being on the streets and having bills and pressure and stuff like that, it's only going to come out somewhere else. So
yeah. Well, if I recall correctly, he had like a pretty extensive rap sheet, I believe, right? So he was convicted for multiple things in the past.
Mhm.
So that's also gonna be used against him. But I do agree with you, Corey, and it makes me. I recall a case that I had in the past because I practice law, but I'm not a criminal lawyer, and I don't practice in the U.S. either. Just to give that disclaimer, but there was this man who I represented, and when I got the call that there was a person, a suspect was in need of legal assistance, and they asked me if I wanted to assist and if I was able to, and I said yes. I went down there, and when I got there, I could immediately see that this person was like not mentally developed, right? But the man was probably around 50, but he talked like a 12-year-old. Physically, everything was normal, but he talked like a kid. And he called everyone like that boy and that girl. Just to let you know where he was in his life. He wasn't referring to people as sir or ma'am, that lady, but he was like that girl, that boy, talking about grown ass people, right? So what I understood was that he was mentally challenged, but the whole family was like that. Every single one was like that. And there were like 5 kids, all grown up. But when I say kids, I mean they're grown up. All of them were grown up, like between the age of 45 and 60. All of them had something with them, something like a challenge with it, right? And their mother was like their mother. No, the father was a hardcore alcoholic. The type of alcoholic that you would just find him laid down on the streets, just gone, passed out. And so they probably all had, and they all had problems with substance abuse. And my client, particularly during that time, he was an alcoholic. He was in there because he deleted 2 people.
Oh.
The 2 people he deleted were 2 siblings of his. What happened was he went late at night to grab like a couple of beer because he used to drink a lot. And he used to work do people's gardens, garden upkeep, get the money, and then buy beer. So he would work pretty hard. But when he went to grab a beer, he saw that there were no beers left. And the other siblings started teasing him. Yeah, yeah, we drank your beer. Ha ha ha, we drank your beer. And as he told me, and as he told the judge as well, a voice told them, these people need to meet their father. And he went and grabbed a knife and did what he refers to as the Lord's work. You know what he did afterwards? When the cops got there, he was just sleeping in his bed, like nothing had happened. Can you guys believe that they placed this man in the same jail, in the same block as hardcore criminals, as he was awaiting the judge's sentence to go to prison? So, and I was thinking to myself, okay, he did something wrong, but you can't put him in a place like that because he is a kid in his head and he will not be able to defend himself against like people, hardcore criminals with bad intentions in prison. And that was, and it is still to this day. It's a very sad story. And that's just to allude to Corey's point that that person, just like Troy,
Palomalo.
Kalawalu.
and I'm trying to think of another last name for this guy.
Las Vegas Troy.
Yeah, Troy Vegas. He's probably a victim of his situation as well. But the question then becomes, to what extent, how far should the state go to protect him against himself?
I think it has to do with the response. So if he's able to recognize, because I mean, to go to sleep and not think anything of it, I mean, I don't know what your initial reaction is to that, but to not have any empathy tells me that that's a really bad sign. If there's no remorse, there's nothing. You could just do that like it's nothing. That's a bad sign. If you do it and then you like I say, there's a regret, there's guilt, there's shame, which I think, hell, this is another conversation because I think that is lost in society. No one is shameful of anything. They just do whatever they want. They don't care about any type of remorse. So let alone going as extreme as to killing somebody, or I would say, sleeping with someone's significant other, taking someone to the pool hall for a game of pool on a lunch break. Nobody cares about anything. So there's so it's just like we're all, I mean, I still want to address this seriously because at the same time, like, what do you do with these people? How do you address them? They don't feel they did anything wrong.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? And that's a scary thing as well, because everyone will tell you that this person is harmless. He's mentally challenged, but he's harmless. It took one moment, like just like a fraction of a second, he flipped and did what he did. But if he's physically and mentally unable to feel remorse, we don't know, and I have to say, to be honest as well, I don't know if in this particular case, he's unable to feel remorse. But I do think that even if he can, it would be like a 9-year-old would feel remorse, right? So, meaning he wouldn't understand the full grasp of and seriousness of the situation. But if he can't, that can also be seen as a sign of danger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That he physically can't, then you can say, oh, he physically can, so it's not his fault. But what if he does it again?
Not only that, but it's like we have this culture of talking about trauma and healing, and everyone's gotta, heal this thing that happened to them when they were a kid or as a teenager, or even whatever. Hate to say it, but it's more than these are the people that we're healing from, and they're just going around creating small traumas. Like, I'm sure, this in both of these cases, and in a lot of this is the headline, but there's a lot of flags along the way that didn't have to be a newspaper front page headline that either, I mean, I'm sure it was addressed in some capacity at that point, but these are the people or these are the incidences that everybody's healing from, that nothing ever happened and everybody was just like, oh, that's just how they are, or you should have known. They're like, so it's such a domino effect where, yes, this person should be deemed dangerous because throughout the course of their life, up until the point where they killed or attacked, they have been hurting probably more and more, with more and more like egregious or depth, that has, like, to someone who does sympathize or empathize with their emotions or something, it changed that person for either a short period of time or maybe a long period of time. But that the course of that person's life is changed, where this person is just moving on to the next one, the next day, the next traumatic situation without feeling anything. I don't know. We've got to heal that part of society in a way where, and I think one of the politicians talk about like bringing back, and it might be Vivek here in America, at least bringing back like these mental, I don't know if it's mental illness, like it's something that's not a jail, but you would go to with enough case. There would be a case for you to go and spend some time that may not be devastating to your entire life, but it certainly would help society if we got you somewhere, you got some real help.
Yeah, like an institution.
Institution. Yeah, but I don't know if that comes off as negative or anything like that, but it's like where you get some serious help.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't want to cut you guys off, but I wanna go to the next topic. It's a great topic, by the way. You guys were cooking, but all I'll say is this, and I'm not, because I didn't say anything. It's very technically, it's very dangerous if you think about it. Kids are usually, they don't understand situations, and if you're a kid with grown man's strength, that's even more dangerous usually. Guys, if you are watching so far, let us know in the comments what you think about this topic. And I think we could have been going an hour about this, but we're gonna go to the next topic.
You don't want no problems, you just talk like you do. Let me show you that you don't want no problems.
You don't want no problems, you just talk like you do.
Number one.
Number one in 109 countries, man. Vultures. I think the previous show we talked about Vulture was a very good show. We broke down what we expected. I think people liked the comparisons we made between Drake and Kanye, and I think I might say we might have been on point with regards to what to expect, because so far I've listened to the album a couple of times. There are some things that are very different than we are used to hearing in hip hop. You have Carnival, where he's using football hooligan chants to create a beat. He's sampling cheerleaders for a Northwest song. And Corey, what do you think about the Vulture so far?
So by the end of this show, I'm going to bring everything full circle, because as I was just reflecting on some things, there's a ton of overlap in a part of me wants to say the deprogramming. The other part wants to say the expansion of creativity. The Vultures, I thought it was a good album. I personally did not think this is a masterpiece, but I understand exactly why it's number one in 109 countries. I think it certainly gives, I mean, it's a lot of what the people want, and it touches the kids. I'm telling you, my niece loves Talking, the Northwest song.
Yeah.
Not because I put it onto her. Obviously I press play for her, but she wakes up wanting to listen to it.
Mm.
Talk about the sampling of, I don't know if it's rugby or wherever that's from, but it's a
soccer.
Soccer is certainly a global like impression. Like there's a connection there. That's what I want to say. There's a connection, and it's creative. So it's not just doing it for the sake of doing it just to tap into this market. It's no, this is dope. How can we bring this into a song? And it makes sense. So I mean, yeah, cancel culture always backfires. I think that makes the artists go even deeper into who they are and what they want to get out of their work. And I think we got that with this.
I think so. So what RJ?
No, go ahead.
No, so one thing I think is remarkable is that he's indeed blending a lot of stuff together. It's not a masterpiece. I don't think it's his best album yet. I always think it's funny, and I think it's very weird in general that people always keep comparing previous albums to each other, because an album is just a time capsule of that artist at that moment in time. So throughout his career, you will never get that same creation ever again. And I think it's very weird. People still do it. So people were, I was reading the comments, people were comparing it to his first album. Or it's never the old Kanye. Old Kanye never coming back. Just forget it. If you want to hear the old Kanye, press play on those albums. This is a very different guy. He has kids now. Back then he was, well, he drove his car into a wreck and almost wasn't here anymore. And those stories are different now. So I think with regards to the cancellation, I think it's very interesting to see how he basically bounced back. It shows you that people, or at least his audience, is still here. And I think RJ?
Yeah, I said yeah.
Yeah, so basically, I do think that it's very interesting. He's been talking about the creation, but people didn't catch it. I have a clip here where he was basically talking to Joe Rogan about his idea of creating the Carnival song. Even before, it's like 2 or 3 years ago, he had this idea, but he just didn't have. Well, he wanted to create like a song about gospel, but it turned out to be something different. Maybe this is a stepping stone towards that gospel song, but
I do believe it is. I haven't heard. I know the clip that you're talking about in my mind, but if you have it, let's play it. But one thing I will say is, this is not a Kanye album. This is a joint album with Ty Dolla $ign. So even if we are to compare it to his previous, I mean, he's done this before. So what? Watch the Throne. Joint album with Jay-Z. Kids See Ghosts was a joint album.
He was doing production mainly.
Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi,
yeah. It's just those two, right?
Again?
There's another one, I believe.
Kid Cudi and yes, Kids See Ghosts is with Kid Cudi. He had another album as well.
Yeah, I think there's another one. It's this. Does he have one with? I need to check it out. But I think there's a third one. I'm gonna check it out, Rico. But you guys continue. I'm gonna check it out.
So as we kind of, I mean, it does feel like a Kanye album for some reason, rather than a joint album. But as I reflect even in this moment on this being a joint album, it might be. I mean, I was gonna say it might be at the top of some of those joint albums because, well, yeah, I just appreciate Kanye, like in the moment of what he's doing. I'm gonna look at it glass half full, but let's play this clip and then reflect on that song and just what the vision is, because that's really what I'm trying to get towards.
Yeah. Okay. Fair use.
For God. And what that, have you like heard like soccer chants and like, and just like 60,000 person. So I envision that for God, 100,000 people, sometimes singing in harmony, sometimes in unison. Glory, glory, oh God Almighty, we lift our hands and give you praise. Glory, glory, oh God Almighty, we lift our hands and give you praise, glory. But picture 100,000 people in unison, and that feeling, what that would do for our spirits, our souls. It's healing. There's natural forms of healing about our environment, the friends that we're around, what we're wearing, what we're eating, our
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chloe.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. Because part of me was trying to not address some of those comments went from glory to God to head so good she on honor roll.
Well, that's probably the same sound, right?
But it's the art. It's the art. It's the
Yeah.
art. It's the vision. I get it. Let's be honest. Even when he was talking about God and very much trying to revamp his whole life, people were still taking shots at what he was doing, saying it was not authentic. And, oh, you know, we're just singing Gold Digger now. You're trying to talk about God. People are always going to find that thing to, I don't want to say bring you down, but show where their head is really at. Like, are they with you or are they not with you? I'm with Ye. Now, do I believe I can play every song to my niece on this album? Absolutely not. But a part of me from the art of Carnival, like I still like the song. I just know who to press play in front of and who not to, and put it in its right place on the shelf with the other albums or songs or the moment. It's 2024. What do the people want versus need versus how do they respond to the previous, and where are we headed in the future? So if that's his vision for what he ultimately wants to do, just to say where we are right now, who's to say like the next one doesn't? All right, we have a group of people here. Now let's start to mold them into glory. Like, I get it. I do get it.
Yeah. It's like there's a girl that I saw on a podcast who claimed that she twerks for Jesus. So it's like I understand that you're trying to have a different way of approaching maybe God, but you can also ask yourself, is that the way to do it, or are there other way to do it? Are you mixing things that have nothing to do with each other? I'm gonna just use an example. And by the way, guys, there isn't another, or at least I couldn't find another joint album, but I was thinking about the Good Fridays releases,
Yeah.
which were just it was all features,
Yep.
features.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you think about why they were going after Ye when he started doing gospel and these gospel, you can compare it with Beyonce's new. She has like a country song, right? And one or more stations refuse to play her songs because they're saying she's not country. So there is this established way of doing things in the sector, and if you come and do things differently, then it's gonna be frowned upon, and you will get feedback. You will get resistance.
Yeah.
And Ye's always been controversial, so wherever he goes, he gets the resistance. I heard the song, the album, just played it through. I didn't listen to the songs, so didn't listen to the word, but I can tell you about the feeling. And I have to say that the feeling was to me a very great feeling. So if you just the vibe of the album, to call it a, I think when people say it's not the old Kanye, what they're doing is they are reminiscing of a time where they had little stress because they were younger, and they had the time to sit and listen and appreciate. Nowadays, a lot of people don't have that anymore. So no matter how because music develops, right? And
Mhm.
sound develops. So the sound that you're hearing now it is a sound that, even though it's great, it will never give you the same satisfaction as the sounds you grew up with. That's what I believe is the reason why a majority of people say, I miss the old Kanye. But if you look at his albums, all the differences, the changes. So the
Mhm.
first three albums were almost, I mean, fairly
First,
the same category. First
first,
two,
yeah.
and well, what was the third one then? I know. I think it was the first three to me. To me,
Okay, to you. Okay. Not gonna discuss that then.
yeah,
But
yeah. Because we don't discuss music, religion, politics, nor music. No, well, music already said. There was a fourth one you don't discuss, right?
well, I want to chime in anyway. So I
Okay.
would say college dropout and late registration sounded quite similar, and then you had graduation was more. It sounded more. It had more electronic elements to it. So he started already evolving, in my opinion, and then he came with 808 and Outbreaks.
Yeah, but
After that,
what I'm saying is, so my thing is, what I'm saying is, it's normal that the
change.
sound changes,
Yes,
but
it
the
should
first
actually.
three, yeah, but the
Because if you
first,
don't, well, and then I'll continue. If you don't change, they're gonna say you're a one-trick pony.
yeah,
So either or.
yeah.
Continues.
But what I'm saying is, the first three albums, if you compare the sound,
Hmm.
there's the change, but the change is still within the same
Yes.
range, I would say.
Yes.
808s was something completely different.
Yes.
Another one, My Beautiful Twisted Dark Fantasy, was completely different. So there are certain albums that are just like completely different from, and from what we're used, what at least the first three, because we could accept the first three. It was, the changes was there, but
Yeah.
that's what I meant to say.
And
Yeah,
then
no,
it's
I
all about
agree. And also, hold on, let me just talk about the titles of these albums, just because even when you just say the albums, I connect it off of the title. So, College Dropout. He's talking about, you know, dropping out of college. I mean, it's very, but at that time, what that message was, because everybody was like, "Oh, you got to go to college, get a degree, you go on to work," and we were in such a different period as a society, as a culture. Today, to say that is, I'm not saying Ye introduced that alternative version of being successful to the world, but since then, we certainly are like, almost college is a scam. So everybody should be, we've had so many success stories of college dropouts. So at that time, to drop out of college, you were a failure. And Kanye used that and made an album and got everybody talking. I'm trying to remember the line of, but she won't drop out. Her parents will look at her funny.
Mhm.
Now
Yeah,
tell me that. So like that, when you listen to that, it was like, man, he's really capturing reality for now. Vultures, cancel culture. I mean, he's in the moment. He's in 2024. What are we going through? what's he going through, but what are we as a society going through? And I don't even know if he actually thinks of his work this deeply. I think he does it naturally, which I know that we're going to get into his commercial, but his Super Bowl commercial, his natural, like, oh, this is what I'm going through in 2024, just naturally speaks to exactly what we're all kind of going through. And I don't know if he's that driver. I think there's a lot of people like him that, I don't know what year College Dropout came, but the conversation was already kind of started about dropping out and the pressures of it, and it making sense, because why just rack up hundreds of $1,000s in debt? And like, that wasn't him being the first person, but he just made art out of it and then made money out of it. So therefore, this Vultures thing, cancel culture, calling people out, he's not the first person to do it, but he's using it to his advantage, which is, I think, such a spiritual thing of like, all right, you're going through this, use those bullets or use those bricks that people are throwing at you or rocks to create something. So Vultures very much don't go back on and don't try to have the College Dropout, because we went through that already.
Yeah.
And same thing, I mean, the evolution, as you were talking about graduation and 808s, like 808s in my mind, what comes is the sound. What is hip hop? What's the beat? What is that doing to our body? And then we ended up having a conversation thereafter, and it changed the frequency. And I don't know, it's crazy what he naturally does to music and more.
Yeah. I think that if you look at Ye's track record, he's always been, so you're talking about the album names, right? He's always been an underdog. And if you tell me College Dropout, that tells me underdog. So that's the first thought that comes to mind, an underdog. So he's a college dropout, right? Oh, he's a college dropout. He'll never make it. He's gonna be waiting tables. That's the top of his potential. But he's always defied the odds. He's always kept on persisting. He really believes in himself, and he believes in his greatness. And that's been the silver lining is in his career, basically. So when we as a society thought that Ye reached the peak, the upper echelon, because he was a billionaire, so that's a peak in his mind, he hasn't reached his full potential yet.
Not even close to.
So when you see this is the way I'm looking at it. When we saw him fall off financially, losing brands, losing deals, a lot of people equated that to him falling off. He was at the upper echelon, and now he's not there anymore. But to him, he was transitioning into becoming a better person, right? And he had to basically take away that skin, just be free and rebrand. And what we noticed, and what we all basically could see, was him getting back in the underdog position. This again with gatekeepers telling him no. The same. So this is how his career started, right? Yeah. Gatekeepers telling him no, you can't, you need to change, you can't. And him thinking of ways to defy the odds. And he just needed one moment. He needed 30 seconds to make a difference.
Yeah.
So they could stop him, and I always say, whether you agree or disagree with someone, give people credit where it's due. You might not agree with what he says, or his stance in certain relating to certain topics, but you can't deny his level of persistence and his genius. He just needed 30 seconds when everyone was saying, oh, now he's really done for. Now he's really crazy. Now it's really over. He just needed 30 seconds to turn it all around. I mean, if that's not, I don't know if it's genius or not, but it's something to be appreciated.
It's a
But
level of consistency that is, I mean, I just shared something like this. So life going up and down and having it be learning, master. And then what do you do when you're up here? Especially some people just stay here and their life, they like to just be comfortable. I'm going to use the word complacent just to affect some people. Like if everything's going like this, you just got complacent and you're not challenging yourself. Ye does not like being here. So he will do something that is like, if, you know, as he said, he can make my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, which is he can make a masterpiece. He can make a Red October shoe. He can make something that is just, not a run of the mill. But once you do it, he always comes out here and says, now I want to run for president. And then people are like, oh, this, he likes that. Granted, is he fit to run for president? I mean, granted.
that's not.
That's not that. No.
Well, wait a second. You cannot say he's not, and we.
Exactly, because who do we have in here? But
well,
at the
if
same time,
if Biden is the
standard,
then yes, he can.
Who are you to say? Okay, he's not fit, but he is. So, but my point is just that he's going to find that thing that's going to make you say, "Oh, no, you can't do it." Because if you're always saying, "Oh yeah, that's easy. You could definitely do that. You're yay." He's like, "Oh, well then that's too easy. I got to go do something else."
Exactly. I need to do it.
And I appreciate that's inspirational because it's like, hey, go challenge yourself. Go do something that, like, if it works out, it'll blow someone's mind and it'll inspire them to do something crazy. And then you'll learn so much along the way, even if you don't attain that goal. But more times than not, you'll be surprised at what you're able to attain just with that energy going in. And that's how I live my life.
Yeah. KaiR, go. Go ahead.
Say your last, and then we can transition.
No, because you were trying to get your word in. So go ahead.
Say your last words, and then we can transition towards the next topic.
Okay.
Okay, then we continue.
I'm gonna talk though. You told me so.
Okay. I will let you cook.
What I was going to say about Ye as president, just to entertain that thought.
Yeah.
Right. On the one hand, I say no.
Yeah.
Why? Because if he becomes president, which sounds weird, but a lot of things sounded weird when Ye's doing it. So, but if he becomes the president of the United States, one of the most influential countries in the world, he can, and so these are the risks, right? He can start wars. He can create negative emotions. He can do things that would give countries a negative opinion of the US and start boycotting and so on and so forth. So that's the negative.
Isn't that
on
already
the other
happening?
end? Yeah, but on the other end, yes, but he's gonna amplify it. So on the other end, I'm thinking if I am one of the opposing countries, and I say opposing countries, right? The countries that are clearly against the US, I would be afraid of a man who can wake up one morning and says, hey, let's bomb Russia for the sample so we can get a sample for an album. It's
Yeah. Oh man.
So it's on the and that's what you had with so that's like a wartime. Well, I don't know if a wartime leader, but if you have like a leader who has a trigger finger, or at least he's quick to pull the trigger.
He's not afraid of smoke.
He's not afraid of smoke, and he's really can't. it's like, yeah, I can do it, and everyone will see the danger in his actions, but he's like, no, we're gonna do it. I would be afraid. So maybe all countries would be like, whoa, I mean, we can anticipate this president, we could anticipate the previous presidents, but we really don't know what this guy is gonna do. So we best stay calm and let his tenure go without any problems.
I know we
Okay.
want to go to the next thing, but I just gotta add.
Yeah, fair.
Ye's, just to summarize, you can't control him. You can't control Ye. And he said in his own interview, if you can't control me, then you can't control him, and you can't control him, and you can't control him. Meaning all of us. Personally, we need it. We kind of have it, but I feel like what comes to mind is that the women liberation, they have it. Men are programmed like you can control Biden. And because you can control Biden, they're trying to control the narrative. And then they're controlling the people. So I don't want that. Not to say I'm voting for Ye or can see him now. At one point I would say, you know what? I can see him being president. He's so creative. It would be right now. I can't really see how a Ye presidency would come into this reality. But look, never did I think that Biden would be president. So my mind is ready to be blown again. And let's transition because this again, I told you that by the end of this,
I want to
all
say
gonna
one
connect.
Yeah,
So,
before we before we transition, KR needs to say something. But I just want to say, Biden's brain has been blown. Anyway,
Hey, one thing I'll say is this. So to respond to you both, I think people said a lot of the same thing you said about the negative relating to Trump as well. He would start wars, etc., etc. Guess who started all the wars? There were no wars during his time, and the person who followed him up has all the wars in his hands. So it's always the unexpected. I do think two things. I wouldn't like him to be a president. Why? You'll lose the people. When people join government, they never change the government. The government changes them, usually. So a lot of times, what you see is that if he, I don't think if you look at how the structure is of governments, it works a certain way. So if he's sitting there and he doesn't have the backing of the Senate, etc., he can have the greatest ideas ever. It's not gonna move unless he does politicking. So we'll lose the old Kanye. It will be great because I think he has quite interesting ideas about innovation, all those things that could push the world forward. Maybe, but I think maybe that's better suited as a entrepreneur than a president to do those things. With all that being said, I think we can go to that 30 seconds that basically changed his fate, because he was almost, he said it himself, he was at the brink of bankruptcy. 2 months away.
Yes, I will. I want to tell you, Lord.